breaking news or whatever. They're on another one. Gang, gang. Yeah. Gang, gang, emergency Zoom film at 11. Same 5 goons, same deranged obsession. This changes everything. Bro, it's page 47 of emotion they skin while half watching Yellowstone. Gang, gang. Squinting at 8 found like detectives. Zoom so far and the pixels are screaming for mercy. Look at this, timestamp 2022, my God. But they're yelling it like they just cracked Watergate. High five. Mike's been muted for 20 minutes, still barking. Circular logic, so a lot of time to seem impressive. Trust the plan, this is massive. Nah, fam, it's boilerplate and it's mid at best. Gang, gang. Self-appointed outrage, swap patting each other like they personally ended corruption. Gang. Dropping bombshell tea that's been sitting in pizza since breakfast. Gang, gang. Moral high ground, speed run, they'll flip the script the second it's convenient. Gang. Same PowerPoint presentation, new day, same brain dead narration. Gang, gang. We're not obsessed, we're just passionate. 3-hour living yesterday's hoodie, passion in my ass. Why is he even breathing right now? Says the guy refreshing notifications every 14 seconds. Gang, gang. Playing lawyer on God mode, reading comprehension. Stuck in elementary, confidence in the stratosphere, case dismissed. They're screaming to the void, motion still pending but go off I guess.
Disagree? Obviously a paid chill. Actually read the filing, deep state plan. Laugh at them, you're clearly compromised too. Exist in the same zip code, suspicious behavior. Notify the group chat. Gang, 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 gang.
Tighter circle, smaller brain.
Gang, gang.
Echo chamber finally running out of oxygen. Gang, gang. Yeah. Gang, gang, acting the actual judge like it's group chat. Replay all meltdowns, labeled just asking questions. Got warned by the core once, that was a suggestion. Still get it the same screed like it's strictly trash talk. Gang, gang, we're above all this drama. While screenshotting they on meltdown for content. Preaching peace and love while actively baiting bears. And fake shock when the bear finally bites back. How could this happen?
Gang, gang.
Synchronized tantrum hours. 5 tabs open, all the same screenshot. Different zoom levels, gang, gang. Premature victory lap over legal language, still can't pause.
Gang, gang.
Standing 10 toes on business until tomorrow's filing, send them scrambling again.
Gang, gang.
Hype the claim to the moon, then ghost the chat when it ages like milk. Gang, gang.
Gang, 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 gang. Gang, gang.
Refresh. Gang, gang.
Gang, gang, gang.
See y'all same time tomorrow. Don't be late.
Hey everybody, how you doing tonight? Man, we got some fun one for you. I'm making sure I've got all the redactions I possibly could get in this, because this is a massive amount of documents, and I just don't know if you guys are ready for this. I mean, I'm ready for it. I'm ready for it. It's going to be, oh, let's see. I guess I should take you back to a little case. You know, it's nothing major. You know, it was a simple, according to someone, it was a simple case. Nothing big, nothing horrible. I mean, I know that there was a bankruptcy meeting today, and yeah, we might talk about that tomorrow, but this is not about the bankruptcy. It shows you how butthurt a certain attorney gets. I mean, he really, it's like, man, just the amount of spite and anger and piss offedness and whatever you want to call it, I guess is the best way to put it. You know, he likes to hide out in another country and practice law from there, and then get ass hurt whenever things don't go the way that they're supposed to, because, you know, you might be hitting the devil's lettuce a little too hard. Huh. That could be it. Could be just about anything that caused him to, you know, screw up everything so bad. You should see that video of bankruptcy court was priceless. I know. And thank you, Debbie Baker. That is so sweet of you. Yes. And we have some new members. I appreciate you, Debbie Baker. And I hope that you're having a wonderful, wonderful day. It is good to see you. And I love it. And I thank you so much. John Good. I want to say Gould, but it could be Good. John Good received one from Debbie Baker. Lee Castor. Lisa, thank you very much. Lisa Fleece. Lisa Fleece sucks dried gravy. That's a good name. I love that. I love that. Got one also. And John Smith also got one. Thank you so much. Hey, Daniel Berry Sports Highlights. For the greatest sports highlights, check out Daniel Berry Sports Highlights. Rob Pate says, who would have thunk that Lips and Chips bankruptcy would be the C story of the day? Oh, well, that's the thing. I talked about this, last night because, that bankruptcy was, the interesting to say the least. It goes to show how bad these people have dug themselves into a hole, and they're more concerned with, YouTube drama than actually, going out there, working, making money, paying their bills. And if you want to say, well, that's because of Jeremy Hales. No, read the initial filings. They had not paid on their mortgage since like 2019. Okay. This is not some new novel thing that Jeremy Hales caused. This is bad money management is what caused it. They had not paid on their damn mortgage, and the mortgage company was sick of the runaround. They're just like, nope, we're taking the property back. And they will end up losing that property, if not both properties. Ooh, so bad. Hey, Libby, how you doing? Ooh, but we're not talking about that tonight. What we're talking about tonight is this little notation that came in, and this is in a totally different case. It says, the Honorable, here, I'll just remove that from this scene and put it down here. It's a little bit easier to show it down on this one. United States District Court of Connecticut. Who do we know in Connecticut? Standing orders to litigants regarding letters to the court. Honorable Omar A. Williams. Now, this was 6/19 of 2024. Whether they be addressed to the clerk of court or the judge himself, and instead asked that the clerk of court return any such letters to the sender without first forwarding them to the judge. This policy is designed to avoid ex parte communications and to ensure proper documentation of filed materials. Communications to the court should be docketed as a motion for specific relief or as a notice of specific information. The motion or notice should have a caption and gives basically the rules for it. And it tells how other people can do it. But why would the judge, create this order and make sure that it's posted out there? Because it's not like Deuce doesn't know that he's not supposed to do these kinds of things. Hey, streamer, if you follow me, then I'll follow back. That's not how it works, Skull Spotter. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. But that's not how we do things. YouTube works one specific way, Skull Spotter, and that right there. Oh, did you? Thank you very much, Debbie Baker. I didn't see that. When did it come in? Did it come in just recently? I'm looking. Oh, I think the last one I got was okay. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. And most big hearts out to you, Debbie Baker. Thank you. Thank you for the $20 cash app. And I appreciate you. She is always so sweet and absolutely awesome. And I think this is just standard procedure. So they know that these kinds of things happen. But this was a response to a pleading. There was a motion to set aside default. Now Deuce got a little bit butthurt in this filing. If you're wondering what this is about, you can just look up here at the top, and it shows that it's Deuce Foreskin versus Andre Ko up there in Connecticut. And there was a motion to set aside default. Defendant moves the Honorable Court to set aside the default. It entered against the defendant 8/21. And what the court did is they looked at it, said upon learning this action, gives all the information, reviewed his emails to compile evidence for the defense and counterclaim for the case. On that same date, I drafted a complete answer to the complaint, got it to paragraph 2 of a counterclaim. It was not until I received a yellow envelope from Hartford, Connecticut that I realized that appearance and notification for extension of time was not filed. He believes that it just didn't get to him in time. All of this goes to say that it did happen, and he was able to file. So he basically answers special defense and counterclaim. It says defendant has insufficient information, and he's just answering this lawsuit that admits that Deuce serves as co-counsel, denies the rest of the paragraph. But it goes down to the bottom of this. And I've read this for you guys before. I've read this guy to you guys before. Unclean hands to all counts. Now, he didn't win on jurisdiction. KO lost on jurisdiction because jurisdiction was saying, it didn't meet the threshold, the monetary threshold that Deuce was just making shit up just to try to get it into court like this. Now, what he says here is Deuce did not perform as agreed. Any breach by the defendant is as a result of plaintiff's own breach. Deuce's sole goal was to settle the case and not to go to trial. Deuce attempted to get the defendant's client to settle the case for $20,000. And when the case did not settle, Deuce gave up the case. For example, when the expert asked for $5,000 to appear in court and Deuce was asked to assist, Deuce said it was not his problem to find the money or we will not have witness. As a result, the defendant had to find the money to hire the expert for trial because the lack of expert witness would have meant no judgment in favor of the defendant's client. Deuce told the defendant that he could participate in the trial because he could not participate in the trial because he had to smoke pot every 15 minutes and that all he could do was help remotely. Yes, we have read this one before. That's where that song came from. Jen Thunder celebrating 4 months of membership. Hey, Shizzy, hope you're doing well. I hope you're doing well also, Jen Thunder, and thank you for being here for 4 months. That's wonderful. Happy anniversary. Happy anniversary to you. As a result, the defendant was forced to do jury selection by himself, try the case by himself without Deuce on counsel to assist with the evidence part of the case. As a result, the defendant asked Deuce to help with jury instructions, which he agreed to do and participated via phone in open court and in chambers. Had the plaintiff performed had Deuce performed the jury instructions, which was his responsibility, would have been done properly, and the defendant would have earned more money. Because the plaintiff did not perform his tasks of jury instruction, the defendant lost the amount of money that the plaintiff is claiming was lost had there been an award of punitive damages. Termination, rescission, waiver. Whatever agreement to the parties had was terminated by the parties, and defendant does not owe the plaintiff as he alleged. There is a counterclaim. Says KO agreed for Deuce to assist him in the case to completion. Deuce refused to assist KO with the jury selection. Trial as previously agreed. Deuce refused to pay for half the cost of the expert fee during trial. As a result, Deuce's refusal to pay for half the expert fee, KO had to borrow money to pay the expert before trial. After trial, Deuce agreed to pay KO $1,500 as a contribution towards the expert fee for trial. Deuce only paid a part of the expert fee because there was a verdict at the time and he knew that his fees were guaranteed. Had there been no verdict, it's clear that Deuce did not want to incur half the expenses to bring the case to verdict and only became interested in paying for fees and costs after the verdict. As a result, Deuce's refusal to assist with the jury selection and trial, KO asked Deuce to at least help him with the jury instruction. Deuce agreed to be responsible with the jury instructions remotely, and that new agreement to be responsible for the jury instructions did not relieve him of his duties to help with jury selection and trial as previously agreed. As a result, Deuce's refusal to participate with the jury selection and trial jury instructions, KO incurred loss in monetary damages. Deuce, without permission from lead counsel, KO, which was BKO, KO was the one that was lead counsel on this. Well, Deuce contacted the defendant's attorney and told him that the case could not be settled without an agreement of fee distribution between himself, KO, and KO's client. Deuce had no authority to make such a decision without consulting with KO and KO's clients. Had it not been for Deuce's action, the case would have settled for more money during the appeal, and attorney KO's 1/3 amount would have been more money. Deuce caused the settlement check to be delayed for over a year. Thank you, Debbie Baker. Definitely one of my favorite peoples. KO represented Deuce in a grievance filed against him for stealing his client's money in an employment case around the same time that Deuce alleged he represented KO in a grievance. Interesting, huh? Now, Deuce's breach of his good duty and faith and fair dealing when stopped to assist with the jury selection and trial and stopped assisting with fees and expenses after the case was scheduled for trial when all settlement effort failed. Deuce is an attorney and knows how hard it is to try a case over multiple days by oneself, and still he did not care to come to the trial once. Instead of coming to court to assist with counsel at trial, Deuce told KO he could not be there because he needed to smoke the devil's lettuce at least once or twice per hour. Yeah. Imagine that. You're an attorney and you're telling them, oh yeah, I gotta smoke a couple times per hour. Had KO known that Deuce had to smoke weed every hour, he would not have agreed to share his win 50-50 with Deuceage. Well, Deuce's misrepresentation that he would help KO 50-50 was a lie, and Deuce knew that if the case did not settle, that he would give up on the case. Had KO known that Deuce's plan, he would not have agreed to share his profit with Deuce as he did. KO only agreed to share with Deuce as he did because he believed Deuce would assist 50-50 with jury selection and trial if the case did not settle, and Deuce only cared about a settlement. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? As a result, KO's reasonable reliance on Deuce's offer to assist 50-50, KO incurred monetary damages. Deuce had a duty to not cause emotional distress. He breached that duty when he sent emails to others, to KO, to delay his payment from the case, defame the character of KO, and proximate a result of breach. KO incurred money damages. Deuce was a substantial factor in causing KO's anguish and emotional distress. Prayer for relief, money damages, all other relief, counterclaim, plaintiff demands, jury trial. So all triable issues. And then it gives that little piece there. Well, what happened is there was a few hearings, and the judge wanted them to get together and have a conversation. That conversation was in front of a judge. That judge listened to what was presented in front of him. Deuce finally got an attorney to represent him. So Deuce didn't say anything as far as what the documents say. It basically looks like he's got an attorney. There was supposed to be a deposition. And one of these right here on April 9th, 2018. Imagine how long this has been going on. Do you want to get involved in a winnable case? Andrew KO emailed Deuce asking, do you want to get a winnable case of defamation character against a rich person? And you have to understand, this is what the attorneys were emailing back and forth. The case was on behalf of a plaintiff, Stephanie Zalaro, who was falsely accused of theft by John Hinko and criminally prosecuted before charges were dismissed. Deuce resides overseas in Armenia, as was known to KO, with whom Deuce was in periodic contact over the years. KO did not realize that malicious prosecution would be alleged against non-police private individuals. On the 4th of 2019 of January, asking if anything came of the Zalano matter, KO responded, you want to help? Case is on. KO revealed he was unaware that the statute of limitations for malicious prosecution action is 3 years from the date of termination of the underlying criminal proceedings. Deuce believes Zalaro had a strong case for malicious prosecution. Also believe blah, blah, blah. Manskin believed KO would likely lose the lawsuit on his own because he would be overwhelmed by an aggressive defense counsel and because he was incompetent. Imagine that. Calling another incompetent. KO filed the Zalaro lawsuit. KO offered to split the contingency fee 50-50 if he joined his co-counsel. Deuce agreed on the express condition that he would prepare and file an amended complaint with malicious prosecution claim with the explicit understanding that he would handle the pretrial litigation other than live appearances, but he could not attend trial since he lived overseas. Deuce filed his appearance on March 6th, prepared an amended complaint, adding a claim for malicious prosecution. Chaos and Deuce's agreement to split the contingency 50 was 50-50, reconfirmed an email from KO to Matskin June 9th, 2020. In July 2021, Deuce relocated from Armedia to Maldine, Massachusetts, from where he continued to handle the Zalaro pretrial litigation, smoking weed, getting high. Deuce and KO spoke frequently. It was regularly confirmed by Deuce that he would not be attending the trial, but would work remotely throughout. He continued to handle pretrial litigation while KO spent little time on the case. That's what Deuce is trying to say, is he spent little time on the case. And this is Deuce's claim right here. In June of 2022, KO was suspended for 1 month, resulting in Deuce having to take on the responsibility of expert discovery issues that have been KO's task, leading to Deuce's annoyance at KO, which expressed on a phone call in June of 2022. On June 10th, 2022, Deuce emailed KO, "Andre, sorry I yelled yesterday and the other times." So he does this often, doesn't he? He likes to get his little temper. He gets his little temper boots on. He doesn't wear the Tempur-Pedic shoes. He gets his little boots all too tight. Fairies wear boots. He gets them a little tight. And then he starts yelling. And he says, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I feel bad when I do, but really this case is killing me. I agree to get involved and I regret it. Once you're reinstated, you need to take charge of this. I may be willing to go to court for trial, depending on how things are at the time." In response, KO confirmed he would try the case on his own. "You've done enough. I could try the case. I will once I get reinstated." There was never any alteration in the terms of KO's and Deuce's agreement, and there was no contractual obligation as a result of Deuce's relocating to Malden, which required him to attend trial in Waterbury. Before and during trial, Deuce served as fully involved, active remote co-counsel, providing assistance including jury selection strategy, with reference to juror questionnaires submitted, drafting motions, responses to motions, going over witness testimony, preparing evidence, spending hours and hours and hours on phone call late into the nights to strategize and help KO prepare for the following day. The trial resulted in a verdict in favor of Zalaro on the malicious prosecution claim for $93,650 and additional damages on other counts, totaling award of $154,000. Post-trial motions result in this amount being reduced to $101,125. Deuce was astounded when he realized from the verdict slip that KO had neglected to request a punitive damages jury instruction. But wasn't Deuce in charge of the jury instruction? That's what he was supposed to be doing. After the trial, KO stopped being attentive to the case while Deuce handled all the post-trial motion and responses to motion. Deuce was able to renegotiate the $115,000 settlement from Zalaro, $14,000 more than the final judgment, in exchange for not appealing some rulings. Rather than enabling Deuce to complete the settlement, KO removed Deuce's appearance and rescinded the settlement for $115,000 so he could himself control any payment and disbursement of judgment proceeds. When Deucey got pissed, he mailed KO and copied Zalaro, offering to accept 40% of the legal fees Zalaro added. "Andre, it does seem that Deuce has agreed to all you have asked. I desperately want this done and move on with my life." KO responded, "Bruce, I'm done with you taking control of a case that's not yours. And as you stated, I'm filing grievance on Monday." In response to his email, Deuce replied, "What does that mean, taking control of a case that's not yours? And why does it matter at this point? I've told you you can handle it as long as you simply confirm the apportionment. I don't even know what you're threatening a grievance about. What's the claim you're going to make? Why can't you accept yes on everything you've insisted on? Just end this." KO wrote back, "Fuck you, Bruce." I love it. KO, having already removed Deuce's appearance, threatened to withdraw from the case, leaving Zalaro with no counsel, and filed a motion to withdraw. He attempted to get Zalaro to agree to pay him $7,500 for a separate lawsuit in which Hayuko sued her for property damage and assault. In February 2023, KO emailed Deuce explicitly acknowledging the prior agreement from Deuce to receive 50% legal fee and attempting to extort Deuce into reducing his fee to 10%, admitting to do things KO demanded. In his email, he said, "Bruce, I told Stephanie that I would only withdraw my motion to withdraw if you agreed only to receive 10% of my share of 1/3, regardless of prior agreement for 50 or 40%. In addition, I need you to admit how the money is distributed between was not necessary to protect Stephanie, and the offer could have been accepted as is in your phone call to Dirk, and the offer could not be accepted unless you, me, and Stephanie had a stipulation regarding distribution of funds is a reason for acceptance issues. For me to take the case, I need you to reply and indicate your consent to the following." And just gives them the following. Because of KO's actions, Zalaro lost the $115,000 settlement. The amount was paid $101,125 with no appeal filed, no consideration received. Above the judgment amount Deuce had negotiated for not filing an appeal. Deuce emailed KO, informing him that Deuce had told defense counsel he claimed a lien on 1/6 the judgment proceeds, to which KO responded, "If you put a lien on the case, which is your right, I will definitely file a grievance against you after you said you didn't want anything and send you everything and you will sign it. Be my guest, Bruce." Defense counsel paid the funds into court. The court eventually ordered disbursement to KO as the only counsel of record, KO having removed Deuce's appearance. KO refused to pay him 50% of the legal fee, 1/3, $101,125, or $33,708 of $33,708, or reimburse his out-of-pocket costs of $1,500 despite collecting it from Zalaro. And then, of course, service was sent. And, of course, here's Deuce's little sworn statement. And we'll try to get his little voice as special as we possibly can. On April 9th, 2018, Andrew Keogh emailed me saying, "Do you want to get involved in a winnable case for defamation of character against the rich person?" The case was on behalf of a plaintiff, Stephanie Zalaro, who was falsely accused of theft by John and criminally prosecuted before the charges were dismissed. At this time, as KO knew, I resided overseas in Armenia. I moved there in 2013 to run away from the law, and he and I were in periodic email and phone contact over the years. In ensuing email exchange discussing Zalaro's claims, KO wrote, "I told her malicious prosecution would be a waste," referring to a claim against the police, revealing that he was unaware that a claim for malicious prosecution was cognizable against private individuals such as Hayuko. After I explained that Hayuko could himself be sued for malicious prosecution, KO responded he was ready for all claims, including malicious prosecution, if it applies to accusers. On January 4th, 2019, I emailed KO asking if anything came of the Zalaro matter. KO responded, "You want to help? Case is on." This is all the same bullshit that he said before. Believes Zalaro has a strong case. Believe that despite her case, he offered to split the contingency fee in 2021. His ass came back with his wife and 2 adopted children. KO and I spoke frequently. Trial of the Zalaro case was scheduled, and basically just gives you a rundown of all the stuff that he did. Seven pages, of basically saying the same exact thing that he said before in the pleading. Now, there was a motion for extension of time because there was something that came up. There was an issue with getting things in here. And Deuce wanted to basically get an order against him to basically say that he's defaulted out on this. He hasn't responded on it. Now, basically, he's trying a case in the Superior Court for the majority of the month of February, in addition to other legal matters not ready for trial, but matters that needed the underside's counsel time and attention. They asked if they could get this, extended out review of uploaded exhibits, all the kind of work that he has to do in this other case. He wants to say, today is the 2nd of 2026. The underside called technical support. He was having issues getting things filed in with the ECF. They were unable to file the motion last Tuesday. Unable and unable to focus on the Deuce case to prepare the case that is going to trial. And he's just saying, hey, give me a little bit of time to, get something filed in there. And of course, the judge said, that's fine. Take a little bit of time. You've got until, 2/26, get this done. Now, of course, Deuce replied, well, he objects to this motion for summary judgment on the following counts. This is KO saying, hey, Debbie Webb, good to see you. Deuce, he fought this until, no, he's still fighting this today, Jack. No, Deuce is still fighting this today. That's what I'm talking about. You'll see. You have to look here. March 22nd, 2026. Do you see the date right here? March 22nd, 2026. Defendant's objection to, if you're talking about the original case, the original case is, it's been settled, but Deuce removed himself, KO removed himself. There was a bunch of arguments, and we covered that extensively. Wow. Like I said, I have other things to talk about. This wasn't the only one. This wasn't the only one. And whenever people sit there and say, oh, you have no content. You just grift off the hills. No, there's plenty of content out there. You just need to know where to find it. Count 1, breach of contract. Count 2, statutory theft. Count 3, breach of covenant of good faith and fair dealing. Defendant objects to plaintiff's motion for summary judgment on the defendant's counterclaims. Although there is no dispute, there was an agreement between the parties. Not every agreement is a contract. A contract is agreement that the court can enforce because it has all the elements of a contract: offer, acceptance, consideration, and signed by the party to be charged. In this case, there was no signed agreement between the parties. While the plaintiff could have proceeded in quantum merit, he did not do so, and even if he did, there are genuine issues of material facts as to the terms for payment with or without defendant's counterclaim being factored into it. For instance, in his complaint, Ducey alleged in paragraph 23, KO's failure to request an instruction on punitive damages resulted in the loss of recovery of an estimated $500,000 of punitive damages award based on Lodestar, which is an indirect way of alleging that his damage is over $83,000, as he is claiming an agreement of 50% of the defendant's third attorney's fees based. The attached shows that Deuce was responsible for jury instructions and the underlying case. Second, when the defendant failed to appear, Ducey moved for judgment and filed an affidavit of debt, which he signed under oath, in which he expressly states that the amount owed was $17,000. That sworn figure represents plaintiff's own quantification of his alleged loss when he moved for judgment on the default. He is now claiming in paragraph 33 of his defective declaration made in support of this motion for summary judgment, he claims that his damage of breach of contract is $16,854,000. That is 3 different amounts the plaintiff has claimed in affidavits under oath, and which demonstrate there are disputes of material facts as to the amount the plaintiff is claiming is owed to him. There's no written agreement between the parties, which makes the term payment and breach difficult to determine. However possible, the parties did enter into an agreement in 2019. However, that agreement was modified several times, and as late as after November 22nd verdict in the underlying case, when Ducey committed fraud by getting Zolaro to sign a contract with him for $400 per hour, in which he claimed he and attorney Ko expanded over 750 hours already in the case in order to make a claim for punitive damages and mislead the court. Hey, Venom, how you doing? Good to see you, you naughty little viper. Hey, MQ, how you doing? Sending sock puppet monies? Yeah, getting the sock puppet monies. Thank you, MQ. I appreciate you. That was wonderful. Hey, Libby, how you doing? Additionally, as a result of dispute between parties, legal claims arose against Deuce, which made payment exchange difficult. At some point, Deuce told the defendant that he did not have to pay him anything in return, not to file a lawsuit or grievance against him. However, the rules of professional conduct require that the defendant filed a grievance against Deuce for directing the KO's client and also for asking the attorney for the defendant in the underlying case to not accept a settlement unless there was an agreement for distribution of funds between the client, Deuce, and KO. As a result of Deuce's action, the judgment was reduced by $22,000, which was a loss of $7,333 to the defendant caused by Deuce. Additionally, Deuce's action in attempting to claim a lien on the underlying case delayed payment to the defendant for over 11 months. Matt Skin filed papers, hired an attorney, and filed motions for almost a year until the court in the underlying case agreed with KO and denied Deuce's motion and ordered the court to pay KO. As to count 2 of the complaint, count 2 statutory theft, this breach of contract case cannot be morphed into a case of larceny, which is synonymous civil theft, where parties have a dispute over an agreement which lacks clear terms of payment, and where both parties had claims against each other and could not come to an agreement. As to count 3, breach of the covenant of good faith and fair dealing, such claim should be decided by a jury, as the facts clearly demonstrate that it was an issue of the amount to pay, and parties with claims and counterclaims had to come to the court for the claims to be resolved. KO always maintained that Deuce is owed money, but KO also maintained that Deuce caused him damage and loss of income and therefore should also pay him. Last, this honorable court does not have subject matter jurisdiction because the plaintiff's own affidavits and motions show that he does not meet the threshold of $75,000 for the court to have subject matter jurisdiction based on diversity of jurisdiction. Even if the plaintiff was to prevail on his claim for damages based on his motion for summary judgment on all his claims, the most he would get is $50,562. which is well below the threshold. As to the defendant's counterclaim for count 1, breach of contract, the defendant and counterclaim plaintiff alleges the same facts in defense to the plaintiff claim to assert his claim of breach of contract, dude faith, bro, and fair dealing with misrepresentation against Deucey. To the extent that Deuce has an enforceable agreement or contract between himself and KO, KO also had an agreement or contract with him. As to count 4, infliction of emotional distress, KO has stated a claim for upon which relief can be granted. Therefore, summary judgment in lieu of 12b6 motion should not be granted to the extent the court decides to grant it. The counterclaim plaintiff KO asked for the court for an opportunity to replead, and he just requests that the court denies the plaintiff's motion for summary judgment. And these are the emails. Dirk Bender to Deuce. If you agree to allow the arrest warrant your client produced and relied upon our deposition and evidence, I'll agree to omit the passage from the charge, and I'll also agree to omit the finding passage at the bottom. And this is November of 2022. And also, that was something that Deuce sent out there. And of course, KO was copied on all of those. And another one, I only have an issue of bodily harm. I realize this is the language, this is Deuce talking here, to elements, but I worry the jury might be confused by this and think that there's needed to be something more than the emotional distress, nightmares, fears, etc. Oh, thank you, Libby. Make sure you do hit that thumbs up. It goes a long way. And if you want to go that little bit of extra step, make sure that you know, a little bit of cash over there. We got super tips up at the top of the chat. You can click on that and it'll take you right to super tips. It does a voice chat and you get all these wonderful like little messages like this. Let's see what they say. Things like this. Why is it not working? I think I removed it. Let me double check. I think I did. Yes, I did remove it. Yeah, it does things like this.
OMG, it's the expert and Shizzy Daddy together. How wild I was. Like, it's all goody goody because I am a retired superstar. Right, Michael?
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. Yeah, those are the kinds of things that you get with the super chats there. They move wherever they need to. And for whatever reason, I think that's in the wrong place. It might need to be up here. Let me double check and see if that works.
OMG, it's the expert and
yeah, that's how it does. The expert and
Shizzy Daddy together. How wild I was. Like, it's all goody goody because I am a retired superstar. Right, Michael?
Or this one by K. Matt.
If Laura goes to jail, do all her protection orders go away and off everyone's records, or can be appealed to be removed?
Yeah, we get those kinds of things. Did you check under your bed? Sending sock puppet mummies. Oh yeah. And Jack Miles. Yeah. So we got those kinds of wonderful things. That's I've just got a couple of voices in there. And then there's some standard voices, but I've got Ronnie. Ronnie got himself in all kinds of trouble. That is one hell of a case. Now, these are the kind of emails that he was sending out to people. I believe, just basically informing them of how things need to be done, the way that they're running it, giving suggestions, that you need to do this, you've got to do this, and just basically saying 1.5 hours to cross Solaro, and, clearly involved in this case after he was supposedly leaving, saying the defendant, just all of this extra crap. And this is, before they even get in there, that he's dealing with all this shite. And then, of course, Andrea says, please, find the revised jury charge. The new areas are in bold. There are issues that need to be reviewed. I'd appreciate seeing everyone at 8:30. Give us time to make any changes. And then here's the jury charge. Basically, this is just what the jury document would say. If you've never seen one of these, just basically telling them what they need to be concerned with, what they need to read. And Deuce was clearly in charge of this, is what he's saying. Okay. What he's saying is Deuce was clearly in charge of this document, and he clearly did not put those instructions in there under the findings. And this is 62 pages. I'm not going to read the whole thing because it might be, it's just basically the wording in this that both parties agree to. And I'm sorry, I'm trying to make you dizzy. And then just basically, this is just what would be given to the jury, the instructions, and this is why it takes so long. This is why judges take so long to read these things. And they're awarded for such things, just basically giving the law, and both parties agreed to this, duties upon retiring. And this is what would have been read to the jury by Judge Robert A. DeAndre. Okay. No place for socks to hide unless my son hides them. And if you see, that's a 62-page document. There's a reason why I'm not going to read the whole thing. it would be the same because it doesn't concern you. I mean, it's what a jury would hear from a judge whenever the judge is saying you need to go back and make your decision for this jury verdict. Okay. And this is more of the same thing where, he starts emailing out, "Hi all, 2 issues in discussing damages." It repeatedly refers to negligence, whereas the emotional pain and suffering damages in this case are also connected to malicious prosecution. I would ask that or malicious prosecution be added wherever negligence is mentioned in the instruction. There's never been any question about the date it went to the police. There's never been any question, just basically giving all of this information, saying that he's clearly involved in the instructions in this particular piece. And then they revised it. The new errors are in bold. The errors for your reviewer from page 16 to 52. If you'd be kind enough to review and reply this evening, just look it over and make sure that it has all the wording like it was supposed to be. And they're showing the dates on this and highlighted. Okay. And then, of course, there was a jury question. Andre is also running a little bit late. Need to excuse himself 10 this morning. Deuce is like, in response to jury's question about whether the statement to the police can be considered publicized, I think the answer needs to be yes. Although it was with the negligence claim on the statute of limitations and, well, for defamation case. Now, so he's wanting to get into it, create a defamation case. Slander, written libel, the issues whether it was published, issue for false lies, whether his statements were publicized. Of course, he didn't go on TV or drive around with a megaphone, but he knows that people who are arrested are reporting in the newspaper. Yeah, this is actually extra bullshit. To avoid potential mistrial, Your Honor should answer the jury's question yes, and then with the negligence counts, respect to the statute. I think the answer should be this, and just basically giving jury instructions. Thanks, Deuce. Now, the motion this happened on March 23rd, 2026. A motion for extension of time to respond to motion for summary judgment. Okay. Skip to the end, my favorite part. We'll get there. We will get there, most definitely. Plaintiff moves this honorable court for 25-day extension of time up to include March 28th, 2026. As you can see, it's the 24th. So this was filed yesterday. In support of this motion, counsel represents to the court that the time is required for the following reasons. The defendant has filed an objection to the motion, to plaintiff's motion for summary judgment with exhibits that show he should not be granted summary judgment. However, the defendant requires more time to complete and file his additional papers in support of his objection. They just require more time to complete his affidavit, obtain an affidavit from a witness who participated in the underlying lawsuit, as well as getting his affidavit notarized, as he does not want to draft a deficient declaration. And then aforementioned facts constitute defendant did not have an opportunity to contact opposing counsel for this motion is based on previous experience with opposing counsel. He would have objected. so Duth is pathetic, fighting 4 cases that he's losing. More than that. He's fighting more than 4 he's losing. He's highly involved in other cases, too. Do you think this is his only one? Hell, I'm surprised he can even keep his facts straight. The aforementioned facts constitute good cause for granting this motion. Plaintiff will not be prejudiced by the granting of this motion for extension of time. He did not have an opportunity to contact him for this motion based on previous experience with opposing counsel. He would have objected, which is pretty funny. They just moved the court to grant this motion, basically for an extension of time. Well, Deuce didn't like that. No. Deuce did not like that at all. So what they filed was an opposition to defendant's motion for extension of time to respond to motion for summary judgment. Well, Deuce, of course, opposes any additional extensions of time for KO to respond to Deuce's motion for summary judgment. The original deadline for KO to respond was March 2nd, 2026. He filed a motion for extension of time to respond. KO did not file his motion at least 3 business days before the deadline as required by Local Rule 7B3, despite knowing well in advance that he would be seeking an extension of time. He asserted they had technical issues, which was, completely logical. How's it feel, Deuce? How does it feel? I'm just curious. How does it feel for Deuce to find out that there's other people that play the same game that he plays? They're late to file. They wait until the 11th hour, and then they file something like that's complete shit. That's annoying as hell, isn't it, Deuce? KO did not explain why he could not have faxed. Damn, I got the yawns. Mailed or hand-delivered his motion within the time frame allowed by the rule. He has a history of missing deadlines throughout this case, starting with his default for failing to file an answer after plaintiff moved for a default final judgment. KO moved to set aside the default. In its order granting the motion to set aside the default, this court stated the court finds good cause, though barely. This court's order further stated the court cautions the parties, please be mindful of deadlines going forward. When this court sets a deadline for depositions, KO waited until the last possible day to schedule his deposition of plaintiff. However, KO did not notice the deposition until 2 days before the deposition date. He likewise waited until 2 days before the deposition to serve a subpoena. Deuce Tecum. Whatever. KO then sought to extend the discovery deadline at the discovery conference on January 8th, 2026. The court denied KO's request to extend the discovery deadline, stated in pertinent part the issues identified in today's conference first arose in September and October of 2025. Now, after they offered to produce certain emails to KO by January 22nd, plaintiff suggested the deadline for filing summary judgment should be moved from January to February. All this court agreed that such extension would be prudent. KO disagreed with this and told the court he was ready to file his motion for summary judgment the next day. Ultimately, the court moved the summary judgment deadline to February 9th. Not only KO did not file his motion for summary judgment the next day, he never filed a motion for summary judgment at all. Now KO comes before this court asking for another extension when the excuse can be described as feeble as best. As before, KO did not file his motion at least 3 business days before the deadline. On March 31st, 2025, the court cautioned KO to be mindful of deadlines going forward. Well, plaintiff opposes allowing KO any extensions of time, barring a legitimate emergency or a catastrophe. Really? I wonder how Bruce feels like whenever other people do that to him. I bet he doesn't like it a whole lot either. I would guess that he is a little bit perturbed about it whenever he pulls that shit with other people. Mm-hmm. Don't you think? Don't you think that's how it would go? Yeah. But that is the craziness of whenever attorneys are doing shitty things. It doesn't matter what side you're on. I'm on nobody's side in the case. I was just reading the court documents. Hello, Debbie Webb. Yes. So, chat, are you ready to hear something crazy tonight? I think we will go over that video because it is absolutely crazy. We'll just do it for about an hour because the video itself is pretty long. And I don't have a whole lot of time tonight. I've got a busy week, like in 3D world. There's a lot of stuff happening. And I was working on a song earlier tonight for the 31st, where I'm going to be over there on Rosalind Duke's channel. And we've got a new song we've been working on. It's called Shut Up Yo Ass. That's what it's called. Serious. That's the name of the song. Shut up your ass. What's it about? Well, you'll just have to find out. What kind of music is it? That's another one you'll have to find out about, because we're not going to give that stuff away. Why would we give that information away? No, 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 no. You just have to come by and see the wonderful Megan. If you want to find out, no, not Megan, but the wonderful Rosalind Duke, if you want to find out what that song is going to be all about. And it's good. So this one came in yesterday, and you were probably like, oh yeah, we saw this. There was a nice little short that came up, and it was this right here. It was this one right here, and everybody was just like, oh yeah, we knew about this. So did we. Found out about it. It was that.
Breaking news. Saran Wrap and Lynette are a world of hurt. It's happening right now. The trustee is emailing, going off saying that Lynette is being questioned under oath tomorrow. The trustee even pushed the meeting, which was supposed to be at 10:40, to now 11:20 because there's going to be so many questions under oath. They haven't corrected any of the paperwork. And at the very last minute, Saran Wrap is now trying to add Fleesa. Fat, toothless Fleesa saying she's a creditor. Now remember what Paint Chip said. Remember what Deuce said. I'm a creditor, and bankruptcy court's going after all my money. Now, if they were actually telling the truth, they'd be going after Fleesa's money. Maybe they'd even repossess her teeth. Wait, she ain't got none. Oh, you know what's really gonna happen? Deuce is already up for no less than 12 felonies with the Florida Supreme Court. I think Saran Wrap's gonna be added to that list real quickly with the rest of the anti-what-the-hell's ecosystem.
Crazy, huh? Well, and then today we found out exactly what happened when your younger brothers do more tongue flapping instead of listening. I always tell them, open your ears, not your ears, shut up your ass. It's about the same. That's right, Crystal. That's about right. That is about right. So that was not all that happened, because yes, there was a hearing, and we haven't seen the hearing because those things are, kept quiet. We don't get to hear them, but we do get to see what Jeremy was talking about with this, and we're going to go over this. It's pretty damn good, but we will finish it up tomorrow because I'm going to have some questions and probably some comments on it, and we'll see exactly what was being said in this. Okay, you guys ready? Well, kick back and enjoy. Here it is. Oof.
A fleet of buses over Deuce in bankruptcy court. And Fleesa talking about donations. The flea market. Oh boy. It was insane. She perjured herself so much. George, let's just get into it. Bankruptcy court has been scheduled for quite some time.
Yeah, today was the creditors meeting scheduled for 10:40 a.m.
If I recall correctly, Saran Wrap was very adamantly told to correct issues, to correct information, to correct schedules, which are documents that are submitted in bankruptcy court multiple times by the trustee. Do you think he did that, George?
No.
Nope.
Given his history, no. He waits last minute and is told by the trustee what he needs to do and how to do his job.
The afternoon before this hearing, an email is sent from the trustee at 2:47 p.m.
Wow. That thumbs up ain't going to punch itself. Hell no, it's not. So imagine, Deuce getting all upset because certain, attorneys are doing shady things. Well, usually, that's the way attorneys will file things, is they want to make sure that they have every I dotted, every T crossed whenever they submit that. Sometimes they'll reread it, they'll make amendments to it, they'll change it, they'll have somebody else read it over, and it's not uncommon for it to happen. But whenever you're filing for a bankruptcy, you should have all of the information in there right off the bat. Who all the debtors are, who all the creditors are, all of the, what objects you own. If you're doing a bankruptcy, all of that stuff should be put in there. Like right off the bat. You're saying, I can't afford to keep existing this way. That's what bankruptcy is there to do, is basically settle those debts, get those things taken care of, and allowing you to move on with your life. But see, that's not what this is about. The reason that she filed bankruptcy is because she has gotten herself into quite a pickle with this. She filed a bankruptcy so they could get a stay. That was the reason they filed a bankruptcy. Because, how else does it help them in Fed 1, Fed 2, thumbnail, any of that stuff? How does it help them? But see, they keep screwing up. And I'm wondering how long it'll be before all these creditors aren't just, fed up with the shit. And the bankruptcy court says, okay, looks like you're just going to have to, sue the ever-living hell out of them, and you can't file bankruptcy again. Tell me lies, tell me sweet little lies.
Saran Wrap, which says Mr. Saran Wrap. It's kind of funny. I mean, Mr. Saran Wrap. I tried to call you. I have a bunch of questions, and I also have a list of documents and records I require. Back in December, I requested the schedules to be amended to provide numerical values on the
Yeah, December. And here you are at the end of March, and you still haven't got that shit in. And she was very specific about this because I watched this earlier. We'll listen to it earlier on my marathon walk tonight. I did a really long walk, getting some exercise in so I can be a little more fit for Dollywood. It's gonna be hot. Yeah. So imagine that their video today was wild. Watched it twice before Tugs. Yeah, Crystal, absolutely. Yeah, and can't hit it again, but I can do it. I can do thumbs up in the chat. Hell yeah, there you go. So, and if I read that email correctly, you can go check it out on Tug and Megan's, because they showed what the email was. They probably got that from Jeremy. Showed what the email was, that these specific things were requested back in December, that they were supposed to be filed. He's way past the filing deadline, and he's going to get himself in all kinds of shitload of trouble, especially if the bankruptcy goes through. Do you think he's earning his money for screwing this up really bad? I wonder.
Keep the debtor's exemptions. Also requested case numbers, copy of complaints, etc. for the cases claimed on the schedules. And as of this date, that has not been done.
Imagine that. Not been done since this period of time. And this is in from K-Mac Queen that says, oh my, oh my.
I get donations, but I don't get donations, and I keep all the money in my bank account.
That's so true, K-Mac Queen. Thank you so much for the $5. That was absolutely perfect. Yeah, I get donations. I don't get donations. I don't know where this money is coming from. I have all the money in my account, but I don't have any money. Are you seeing a little trend with this? Jeremy will show in a few. Yeah. Jeremy will be showing all of the stuff that he possibly can. It's he's a creditor in this. Oh, of course, what you'll hear from the fleas and from all of the little anti-hails is you'll hear, oh no, Jeremy's completely lying. That's not what happened. Well, you weren't there, were you? I mean, so probably don't even know anything about it. Crazy, isn't it? It's absolutely crazy that wouldn't know anything about it, but they want to talk like they do. Mhm.
And I will go through the petition, and I will have the debtor testify and respond to these questions tomorrow. Please allow ample time. I will come on and advise everyone as I start the meeting at 10:40. That was the original time of the meeting. Then I'm gonna push the meeting till 11:20, and I have many questions, and I'll be asking them under oath.
Yeah.
Well, let's do the math real quick.
Okay.
So today's date is March. We're March 23rd. Let's say the 23rd.
24th.
And the trustee mentioned the month of December. So December 2025. We're now in March of 2026. And the
Nothing.
lawyer that she paid $6,000 to,
Nothing was done. Nothing.
disobeying the trustee.
Which is rather
course.
interesting, which, by the way,
Why
George
would
and
they
I
obey him?
getting into the bankruptcy hearing today, we already knew it was going to be pushed back
text.
because the trustee texted us earlier and said, will you be there? Will you be present? And I responded, let me see here. Let me find it. And, well, I did respond right there. Yes, we will be in attendance. Thank you. Right there. All right. So there we are. Okay. Again, more proof.
Well, and she included it in the email in response to Lynette's bankruptcy attorney.
Interesting, isn't it?
Text.
Well, Saran Wrap replies to
Gotcha.
her. Ooh.
What time did you respond to her?
Okay. I will let you know. 3:46 p.m. Same day, yesterday, before bankruptcy court. Miss Bender, thank you for your email. I did attempt to call you at the number on your signature line prior to sending this, but I was unable to reach anyone. My assistant Jennifer corresponded with, we'll just say, special counsel. He gives the name of the lawyer, but it's special counsel. And in this video, we're going to call him Kevin. So conferred, was unable to reach anyone. My assistant Jennifer corresponded with your special counsel earlier today and advised that we are amending the schedules to include Miss MS, not MRS, MS, Fleesa as a creditor, as she attempted to clarify your prior concerns regarding Schedule C. Now, hold a second. Schedule C is a document in bankruptcy court. She attempted to address your prior concerns. Who's the she?
Wouldn't it be his assistant, Jennifer?
That's funny.
Or is it Fleesa?
It could be either or.
Or is it Lynette? Stay tuned. Addressing the additional concerns in your email, I will be providing you with the operative complaints and case numbers for the matters referenced in the schedule.
They're seriously disturbed, MQ. Imagine Lynette showering in a gold flake shower a la Flashdance. Oh, man. This trustee is putting on her Judge Judy hat, or better yet, her Beth or Rebecca boots. Yeah. Yeah, having to wade through this kind of crap is insane. Like, can you imagine that you're sitting there going, listen, I'm asking for this documentation. It's no different than whenever they were asking for all of her proof that you know, for discovery, and she never turned any of it over. You say you want to do discovery, but you haven't done discovery. Imagine how crazy that got. Right now, I've got to tell you, it is getting close to 11:15. And we do have to put a hard stop at midnight, because right now I am cooking up. I'm cooking up something really good. And it's not for YouTube, but I have got this beautiful ragu that I'm making. And it's going to be absolutely superb. It has been sitting on the stove for the past couple of hours and just simmering. And it is going to be so tasty. Tomorrow night, I'm doing a penne pasta with with beef short rib ragu. And right now, the short rib is just sitting in there in all those nice juices, just soaking it all up. Got a little bit of bay leaves in there, some thyme, a little bit of oregano, some garlic, some onions, some tomatoes, and it's just been cooking on the stove, just cooking away. right there is going to be delicious tomorrow. And whenever I pull it off tonight, because that's why I have to stop at midnight and let you guys know that I have to go actually pull it out, and then I have to let it cool, and then it goes in the fridge, and it's going to sit in there. Yeah, I do actually have some red pepper flakes in there also. It's good, really good stuff. I make some sweet red peppers. No, I've got some. No, I don't do any red peppers in this ragu. It's got tomatoes in there, and it's got a little bit of red wine, and it's oh man. And I smoked the short ribs over the weekend, and I kept one back, and that has to be all shredded up before it goes into the little pot. It's gonna be so good. Can't wait. It'll be delicious. Yeah, you'll probably see me tomorrow. Just be going. Good stuff.
And prepared to answer your questions tomorrow. I will see you at 10:40 a.m. tomorrow. Please feel free to call me directly via my cell phone to address any additional questions or areas of concern, which then the trustee responds at 3:50 p.m.
Well, you have a good night, Anna.
I am a sole practitioner. I do not have staff. Email is the best way to contact me.
Yep.
Saran Wrap tries to manipulate the trustee by saying, hey, I talked to your special counsel on your staff. She goes, no, you didn't. You contact me and only me. So I find this interesting. This is pretty heated. And I actually go into this going, George, bankruptcy court tomorrow is going to be.
Well, I think Jeremy misunderstood this, because from whenever I read that, I don't think that he was actually trying to saying that he reached out to staff. He was saying that his staff was working on it. Reminds me when Mom used to cook her tail soup. Oh yeah, oxtail soup. Yeah.
Hot. The trustee's gonna be mad. Now we've already seen the trustee.
Irritated.
Very frustrated. Irritated. Put Lynette in her place. Put Saran Wrap in his place. Time after time after time again. So today, interestingly enough, while she got irritated a couple times, she did not raise her voice.
No.
She did not show frustration. A little bit of irritation. We'll get to that, though, with Lynette and only Lynette.
She was, for the most part, she was calm as a clam. Isn't that like the American saying? Or cool as a cucumber.
I grew up in Egypt.
As a cucumber.
Cool as a cucumber. She didn't
Tickling the pickling.
She stayed level-headed the whole time.
Yeah.
Try to be patient.
I was very impressed. I was like, we haven't seen her this level-headed when dealing and speaking with Lynette.
She was in a very pleasant mood.
Yes.
I think that's a good way to explain it.
And I wasn't, which is probably best that we never discussed. We never unmuted or showed our camera.
Correct.
So
That's good.
this morning, literally this morning.
Oh, that is so kind of you. Crystal Blue Waters has gifted a membership. Thank you so much. And that went to Fred Kohler receiving that gifted membership. And I will do this for you guys. I'll play that wonderful tune. And this also goes for beautiful, lovely, gorgeous bakers. So this is for both you guys with the gifted memberships. It means so much. Thank you so much.
Welcome to the shit show.
Yes.
Every single day.
Not just once or twice.
A new flavor of fuckery. Cause everybody's
yes.
such you see, and they're
dumber than a bag of rocks.
Monday, bullshit, Tuesday, bullshit, Wednesday,
and then 4 more days of increasingly stupid, ridiculous, ignorant, vulgar, dash, poppycock, bollocks, and fuckery. Yes. Hey.
Saran Wrap at 9:50 in the morning. Saran Wrap adds Deuce and Fleesa as creditors. Now, you realize why they're attempting to do this.
Oh, there was somebody in the background talking on this. I'm sorry.
This is trying to limit their liability of a full and complete financial audit of their finances. They think that this is going to help. This doesn't help them at all. As a matter of fact, what it does, this is how dumb Deuce is. These are the doors that are closed right now. Him going in as a creditor opens it up even more for the trustee and for the special counsel who are going after everything.
Correct.
So what they just did by making this an official filing,
especially since Deuce claims he's pro bono. How can he be a creditor if he's pro bono?
Well, whenever I heard that, I was just like, you serious? He's going to try to come in as a creditor? How is he owed anything? It's like saying, I want to do X, Y, and Z for you free, but then come along a little bit later and say, well, no, actually, I deserve to be paid, for X, Y, or Z. No, pro bono is you're doing everything free unless you've got some sort of contingency fee. And if you have a contingency fee, that means that before you actually started working on the case, you got something saying that you were working on this case. Ooh, that's not going to look too good if he's being charged with unlicensed practice of law. Ooh, this really sets him in a bad place.
I cannot believe it.
Listen, math isn't math isn't really my forte, but the math ain't mathin'. If an attorney says they're pro bono, which means they're not charging any money to the client that they're helping, how can he be a creditor if she doesn't owe him money? Oh, that's right. There was a contingent contract out there, 40/60. Oopsies.
Wasn't there?
All right. Yeah. So we get in and we get in on the bankruptcy Zoom, which this is court, it is Zoom.
And I'm curious because, he knows that he's gotten in trouble with this kind of behavior before. I'm curious if he realizes that this is going to put him in even a bigger bind because there's going to be some questions in other court cases about all of this, isn't there?
And we're in the waiting room at 10:40. At 10:44, Teresa, the trustee, comes on and says, Zoom user, who is that? And Saran Wrap says, well, that's my client. And she goes, well, I'm going to rename.
Yes.
And what did you see? When you saw Lynette come up on screen, what did you see?
So the first thing that came up on screen, when you're on Zoom, you can see multiple people on the panel. And so her camera was literally aimed at all of her jewelry on her wrist and her hands. And that's all you saw was her hands and her wrist with the multiple jewelry and the multiple rings, which she did not disclose on her bankruptcy filings.
Which she was questioned on merchandise under oath. By the way, let me just be very clear. Lynette perjured herself many times today.
Yes.
Under oath in the federal court. Insanity.
So she changed.
And the thing is she's wanting to try this bankruptcy case. She's wanting to try all the other cases in the bankruptcy case, not realizing that that's not the place for it. And a little bit later on, they'll get into this particular thing and they'll be talking about it just like, is she this dumb? And the answer would be yes, she is this dumb that she doesn't even know what's being filed in this. Next time meds have kicked in, well, you get yourself a little bit of rest. And if you want to, Diane, you can always come back, catch us on the replay. And all you have to do is just forward it about an hour and a half and you'll hit the replay. Watch it over and over because there will be more coming out tomorrow whenever I'm able to finish this up because I'm only going to probably get through about 20 minutes of this before I have to jump off here myself. And you have a good rest. Make sure that you're taking well care of yourself, because that's what you need to do.
Zoom user and edited it and changed it to her last name, which is Preston.
Yeah.
And I was baffled that the camera was just aimed directly at the jewelry on her hand.
Hey, Matt Red Queen says, so he's on the state of practicing UPL. So when did it happen? When did Pro Hoc Vici, when did Pro Bono, or after he filed, shoot, I dropped that. Sorry. After, and no longer covered, not licensed. Well, it goes deeper than that, hey, Matt. And here's the problem. This has already been testified in Ohio. All of the stuff that they testified in Ohio is going to be brought into the other cases that they're dealing with. The things, and I don't know because I wasn't there, but according to what was being said by Jeremy in his live stream about covering the Ohio stuff, and we probably need to go back. I still haven't gotten to Lynette's testimony on that one. Maybe we'll finish this one up and then we'll do the Ohio one, because absolutely insane. If what they're saying is true, that she's testified and Deuce has testified saying that he wrote pleadings for them before they were actually supposed to be, he was representing them. That means he got himself into a really, really, really big bind. Because in the state of Florida, you're not allowed to write pleadings as an attorney. If you do, it has to be disclosed. They never disclosed that whatsoever. They wrote it out as if they were the ones that were filing this. Both John Cook and Lynette Preston have said under oath that Bruce is the one that was writing these filings before he was actually representing them, which puts him in a really big bind, because as an attorney, he should know that he's not supposed to do that. And if he goes, well, I didn't know, well, that's no excuse. You're paid to know. And well, that's what you went to law school for, to learn the improper things that you're supposed to do. I'm wondering if he's just ready to get rid of his license to practice law altogether, Yeah, LMNOP already stated that and according to both Jeremy and George, from what they gathered in the Ohio court hearing, he admitted that he did it as a ghostwriter. And there's some serious laws that are being broken right there. And they'll have his own testimony. And do you think that he's going to figure out that he got himself in all kinds of problems? Probably. Maybe he doesn't want to be an attorney anymore.
And again, she did not disclose any of that on her bankruptcy filing.
So Saran Wrap comes on and says, that's my client. And the very first thing George does, she looks at me and she says, look at his hair.
I whispered, but they couldn't hear us because we had the camera off and we had the mic off.
Yeah,
and I was like,
crazy.
look at his hair. It literally looks like he got dunked in the toilet again.
Got another swirly.
He
definitely got a swirly.
His hair was just soaking wet. Maybe he was fresh out of the shower. Maybe he got another toilet swirly. I don't know.
I think it was in the bathroom again personally.
Thanks, Roy.
But Lynette had her hair pulled back. You see how George's hair looks so nice pulled back? Lynette had her hair pulled back as well, trying to mimic George.
And like the front, like the small baby hairs pulled back.
Yep.
She actually had a nice top on. I think it had butterflies with like neon colors.
It was a neon butterfly blouse. And I was sitting there thinking,
like
she finally figured out that she shouldn't look like trailer trash.
Yeah. So the shirt that she was.
No, he's got 12 counts against him in Florida. There's a possibility that there in Connecticut, there's only one count against him in Florida or in Connecticut. So whenever you're thinking about this, and we've gone over the documents, there's one in Connecticut. We don't know about what Boston is doing, but it does look like they are going to go after the most egregious one, which is UPL, unlicensed practice of law in another state. That right there in Connecticut could possibly get him disbarred. It depends on, what the arguments are and they've already found him in violation of it. Who knows where they'll go from there with it, but there will be a hearing on it, and they will have a lot to say. And that does not include Massachusetts, but we know in Florida, there are 12 counts against him in Florida for unlicensed practice of law. And they will most likely be referring all that information not only to Connecticut, but also to Massachusetts. Massachusetts will be referring all of their findings back to Florida. Connecticut will be, and Connecticut, and then the same with all of them. They will all be in communication, and they'll get to the bottom of it. A swirly do, yuck, not quite the Dairy Queen cone. That's appetizing. No, it wouldn't be. It would not be at all.
Is wearing had like the crazy neon colors that like when people are tripping sees.
Yeah.
When they have the trippy episodes.
Yeah. Well, those freaks would know about that. So trustee comes back and says, listen, I'm going to go through my entire calendar, then we're coming back to this. Because usually the trustee schedules 10-minute multiple hearings, 10-minute increments, one hearing, another.
Well, I know the stuff in Florida will be criminal. I don't know how Connecticut will deal with it. Connecticut will deal with it, and I guess we'll find out about it. No, not a problem, Cynthia. Sometimes because there's so many different cases going on that it's easy to get confused, and I do the same thing. Sometimes I get it wrong. That one I'm pretty positive of, though. Connecticut, yeah, correct, not sanctioned like the Connecticut investigator asked about, but criminal charges. Yeah, there's in Florida, criminal charges. That's what it looks like. Good to see you, Rich.
This case is nothing like that. So she tells everybody, hey, I'm going to go through everything else on my calendar. Then we're coming back to this at 11:20.
Oh, bye, sheeple. Quick, drop it in, hit the thumbs up on baby duties while my daughter takes her little fella to the hospital. Oh, I hope the little feller's okay. I'm sure, we'll find out. It'll be well covered, whenever we find out this information.
And she goes, we're going to be under oath. We're going to do all these things. And I'm just sitting there while she's talking. I'm going, why are there butterflies on this shirt instead of turtles? I thought this was a person that was all about turds. She loves turds.
And tortoises.
Loves turds and torts. It's Lynette Preston. And she goes, I'm going to mute everybody. This is not anyone else's opportunity to ask questions. Putting Lynette in her place from the very beginning.
Yeah, of course, Lynette would interrupt. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? It's like, they've got other work that they're doing, and you're being annoying.
Can you see me, ma'am? You don't get to ask questions in here. This is my neighborhood. I ask the questions. Which then Randy says, did you say nobody else gets to ask questions today? And he says, the trustee goes, my time, my dime. Randy goes, all right, we're all observers.
He said, so we're going to be potted plants?
Yeah. So we're potted plants today.
I could imagine Randy doing that too. Just being like, oh, we'll just be potted plants. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink.
Yeah, so he just wanted to clarify that at this time, Lynette's digging in her ears and I'm just gagging. Like I think I threw up a little bit in my mouth. It was so disgusting. And I see the trustee on panel. I see Jeremy Hales is listed again. The camera is off.
All right. And then we have Saran Wrap.
Yes.
Saran Wrap says to the trustee, ma'am, I just updated the record with 2 new creditors. Now, keep in mind, this is Deuce, who's now claiming to be a creditor, who was pro bono, meaning Lynette owes him nothing unless pro bono is the biggest lie in the world. And she actually owes him money. And then Fleesa, who raised money for projects, breadsticks. I'm just curious how Lynette could ever owe Fleesa money. Well, the good news is the trustee and the special counsel to the trustee know what's going on. They have all the info. They've been supplied so much evidence and information, from video clips from Fleesa to screenshots of Lynette to video clips of Lynette entering complete and total flea market booth to
Her own posts
Her own
on
posts.
social media.
Wow.
her own posts. So trustee says, listen, we're going to go on the record now, and she's going to be doing all the questions, and she says, I'm going to be verifying the schedules, which are all the documents that are submitted, basically in a nutshell saying, hey, I own this, it's worth this much money. I owe this person this much money, and I may sue Jeremy Hales and the rest of the world, and I'm going to get millions of dollars, which comes up again, okay?
Can you imagine this? That they think that they're going to come and try to sue who are they planning on suing? And see, this is where it gets really interesting. You know, the thought that they're going to what? Are they going to sue Tug? They're going to sue Megan. They're going to sue me. They're going to sue Coop. What are they going to do? They're going to go after Georgie. They're going to go after Squid Pro Quo. They're going to go after Rosalind Duke. I mean, are they going to sue Fleesa? Are they going to sue the people that actually took their money? Because me, I haven't touched any of her money. Why would she want to sue me? I haven't laid a single little finger on any of her money. The people that she needs to be looking at and needs to be focusing her attention on, if she wants to make and she has a pretty valid lawsuit, would be the flea, Mutton Flop. Yes, all of you. You're going to give her all your money. Good luck with that. Seriously, good luck with that. I'll tell you what, I got about 50 cents sitting around. You're welcome to it. That ain't going to get you very far, but you have fun. Yeah, this is their thought, that they're going to go after other people. That's stupid. Like, seriously, whenever people are sitting there going, "Oh, we'll sue you," for what? I mean, do you realize that the countersuit that would come in on that? Because that would be like harassing. There's a reason why I don't get in lawsuits, because I don't do anything wrong with this. It's all within the bounds. Same reason why whenever Deuce Hug said, go ahead and try, he would get the strongest free speech attorney and bury them. I don't even need a free speech attorney. That's the thing about it. They would be buried automatically. One, because I've never done anything to harm them. I mean, they can claim that there's harm. It's emotional distress. But you have to remember that these are people that came after me and my family, tried doxing them, harassing me. They wanted me to cover their story. They included me in their stupid emails. They included me in all their bullshit. So, hey, bring it. We're going to have fun. That would be such a joy. Just imagine the party that we would have, because I guarantee you start bringing all of these YouTubers into a lawsuit that's frivolous, and you will get your ass handed to you. Look what is happening to Lips and Chips. It costs money to sue someone. No, I mean, you can sue anyone for anything that you want to, Cynthia. That is there. You absolutely have that ability to do it. Is it a good idea? No. It's because their little feelings got hurt. It won't cost her money. She's indigent. Yeah, it will cost her money because you have to place a filing fee. And of course, there's certain little procedures that you have to deal with whenever you're doing that. And also, then you also have to deal with the state of Georgia. Georgia doesn't like people like Lynette. They don't like out-of-state people coming in and harassing their citizens. And they have some very, very stringent laws around that they might want to look into those just a little bit closer before they decide, oh, we're going to sue Shizzy. Okay. Pretty easy to locate. You can find me and you can, email me your little cease and desist and I'll read your little cease and desist online and tell you to go fuck yourself 10 ways to Sunday, because I can do that. Because it does not affect me whatsoever. See, she's indignant. Yeah, that's more, that's closer to it. Not indigent, indignant. I said this on her comment with the anti-hails. It's like Tim Burton twisted version of Annie Oakley's song to each other. Anything you can do, I can do dumber than you. They fight for the #1 spot. It is true. And we went over that shit with the Flea last night. You'll have to watch the end of the stream last night if you want to see that. Just forward it into the last hour where we talk a little bit about the lying fleas scam, because that's what Mutt Flop does. Is she lies and tries to convince people that there's bad things that are happening that actually aren't happening. And there's proof of all of their bullshit. Their own proof. It's like they are a gold mine of stupidity. If you are mining for stupidity, then you got an easy way of finding it. Because not only does Paint Chip do stupid shit like, threatening me and my family, threatening Tug and his family, threatening, Jeremy and his family, threatening Megan and her family. I mean, it's not like, these people are the brightest, characters. And they want to say, oh, well, we're just being journalists. Well, they never responded to any of my questions. My questions were pretty straightforward. And so I just have to take it as being true that, that someone has some issues with children, or someone around them has issues with children. That's what I'm gathering. Isn't that right, Paint Chips? Got a little issue about being around kids? I mean, I did ask you to respond, but the way that you responded was so vitriol and full of hatred and accusing me of saying horrible things about you. I was just asking questions. Isn't that what your little buddy Vomit does? Just asks questions and you're expected to respond to them. Well, you never responded. So I'm just going to take it as truth that you've got, you've got a little problem that, could be addressed with, maybe castration or something like that. Eleanor P. Cranbox, no bright ones in the bunch. Yeah, that is about right. Yeah, they're sickos. Yes, I've noticed the trend with these people, that they've got a serious issue that cannot seem to be resolved with, just the mere, fuck off, get out of my life kind of attitude. So whenever they ask to be, you mean chocolate box? I mean, somebody's got a problem with their chocolate box, I'm assuming. At least they've got a very big fetish with them. You've seen the pictures. Hey, Fleesa, Chicken Little said that too about acorns and the sky is falling, mountains and molehills. Slap. Yeah. Yeah, it's quite interesting that, they're very upset about people talking about them on the internet. you know, they want to get all indignant about Jeremy. Jeremy doesn't like it because we're telling the truth. Well, there you go. That's what we're doing. We're telling the truth over here, or at least as close as we can possibly come to. And I guess the truth hurts, you know, sort of like Bubba. Isn't that right there, Paint Chips? Bubba hurt your little feelings. He didn't put a ring on it before he, you know, got in a few little donkey punches. Yeah, Shizzy. Not only does he have a fox in the closet, he has a tiger that has control of the kitchen. Yeah, that is very true. No, I've got some meat in the kitchen right now. They provide nothing. They speak about things with no receipts, no videos, no nothing. The tooth and nothing but the tooth. That is absolutely right. That is absolutely. That is the biggest problem, is whenever they're sitting there flapping their gums, you really, if you look back at the things that they say, and but of course they realize that, you know, the people that are their biggest supporters are just tend to be as criminal as they are. And they're happy with that, you know? If it can't be done, she don't have enough. Pinocchio told half-truths too, and his nose grew bigger. Well, mine grows bigger, as you can tell. It grows bigger because, well, it's just the heritage. At least I don't have warts growing out of, you know, those fleshy spots. I don't want anyone playing with their 3D printer, leaving marks on the street. You mean the streets or the sheets? I'm cute.
And she does say, listen, I'm here to liquidate assets. I realize this is a very contentious case. You brought it into my playground. We're going to move forward. So, Trustee goes, Miss Preston, I'm going to be swearing you in. And before that happens, Kevin, the special counsel, says, whoa, hold a second. Would you mind going over and making the statement about recording?
The disclaimer.
Yeah, the disclaimer. And so the disclaimer is, anybody who records this except for me, you are committing a federal crime. That's the disclaimer. And she says, all right, thank you, Kevin. And Trustee says, all right, raise your right hand. And the rest of the entire meeting for an hour, literally an hour, is Lynette under oath being questioned. Interesting. All right. Why don't you take us through this part, George?
So before
we get into this,
she puts,
we're gonna pause that there, and we're gonna interact with you guys a little bit. Did you hear Doritos filed chapter? Yeah, I broke that information yesterday. Sharon, I talked about that exclusively yesterday. That was brought up, and I showed the documentation on it yesterday. I didn't dig too much into it because, well, they're in a shit heap of problems. Lips and Chips are in quite a bit of issues with it. And one thing that I noticed on all of that is that she's not named in any of this. That's going to be interesting, don't you think? Yeah, he filed the, so he's got a stay, a temporary stay in both the two cases that are he's dealing with, but there's also like two more that he hasn't really paid too much attention to and filed anything on those either. But yeah, sorry you missed it. Don't worry about it, Sharon. Yeah, I talked about it yesterday, and that's where a lot of people got that information from. You know, it's good. It's good. But see, I do the late night show, so a lot of people don't tend to catch a lot of the stuff that I talk about, you know, same way with the dues. Did he hire Saran Wrap too? No, he hired a different attorney. I think it was like the Van Huffle Lot of Business or something like that. It's another law firm that he hired that's handling that case for him. They've got, it looks like there's two separate attorneys handling two separate cases in that. And of course, that will go on for quite some time. It'll be quite an interesting case. But I do have do have a few minutes to give you a couple of, like little sneak peeks of what we have going on, and it'll be really good. It'll be really good. I've been working on a couple of songs, and I still need to finish out a video for this one. So I've got the video. It's close. It's close. It's close. It's got some undesirable portions to it. So I wanted to share it with you guys, so that way you could tell me what you think. If it's a good one, if it's not a good one. Because there's times where I'm like, is this going to be the one that breaks the camel's back, or is it going to be the one that just doesn't quite make it? And I guess the best way to do is to just show it to you guys and let you decide what you think of it. And here we go. We'll just bring this bad boy up for you guys to view. And here's the video.
Sun's out. Palm trees sway. Why is it snowing in Florida? Somebody check her pupils.
Stream was rolling, mouth on autopilot. Confidence loud, but the brain went silent. Talking like nothing could ever go wrong. Then the shit got weird and the pause too long. Psycho blinking like Morse code. Thoughts doing donuts off road. Chat goes quiet, she starts to sweat. That's why she feel that internet. Finger hovering over end. Can't rewind shit you already said. Heart racing, logic fled. It's snowing in Florida, must be cold. Whole damn stream got the dough. Whole damn stream got the leader gonna soul. But she kept the clip, she should've hold. 43 seconds, solid gold. I was erased like they never existed. But that one moment, oh, it resisted. Worst damn take of the whole damn night. Framed it, saved it, hit upload, right? Sunshine straight, but she seeing flakes. Talking in circles, tripping on takes. Deletes the past like it's gonna heal. But panic always leaks the real. You can scrub the drive, you can curse the cloud. But you left the part where you said it out loud. Nice work, crowd. Snowing in Florida, hit delete. Kept the proof and kill the beat. Erase the context, not the receipt. 43 seconds, sweep the street. It's out of context. It was a joke. It's edited. Yeah, by you. Give me everything, give me everything. Give me everything, give me everything. Except the crime scene. Now comes the spin, watch it unfold. Same old script, getting real old. Blame the weather, blame the stress, blame the chat for your mess. But you can't blame pause, you can't blame fear. You can't blame why that clip's still here. You chose to keep, you chose to cut. Accidental honesty, oops, whoops nuts. It's snowing in Florida, melting fast. Try to outrun your digital past. Burn the house, but the door was glass. 43 seconds gonna last. Spin, lagging. Spin, dragging. Give me everything, give me everything. Give me everything, give me everything.
Well, I think the singer stole Lynette's rings. It's a possibility. It's a possibility. That was one. And like I said, the video isn't complete because there is a second part to that song that I haven't completed yet. And that's where I wanted your guys' help. Tell me if you like that song so far, I do have more, but I don't have video for it. All I have is the actual music to it. So it's pretty crazy that I have this wonderful, wonderful song, but I only have audio for the second half of it. And it's, I think you guys might like it. I think you guys might like it, but you'll have to tell me. You have to tell me if it actually works. If it actually works, because it's a very, very long song. And so you'll get to hear the middle of it whenever I get there to it. Let's see, is this the one? And I think it is this one right here. And it starts somewhere around here. I think that's right. Let me double check. Yeah, it starts right about here. And you're going to hear the second half to it. And I want you guys' honest opinion on it. So you're going to hear the very end of it. March 31st status hearing in bankruptcy. That's correct. That is correct. So let you guys listen. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you think of the second half of the song. Then you're going to hear a little bit of the end of the last one, but then you're going to hear the next one kick in.
Babe, I didn't. I mean, I did, but not like that. The lights were buzzing, the room went flat. Did you see the walls? They moved, they bent. The chat was typing in past tense. I wasn't sweating, that was shine. Florida heat does that sometimes. Why'd you freeze it on my face? That frame's a lie, it changed the shape. My eyes weren't blinking, Morse code, no. They were buffering, running slow. Snow in July, it's climbing stuff. You don't understand, the pressure's rough. I hit delete before it spread, but it spread inside my head. 43 keeps looping red.
It's snowing in Florida, babe, can't you see? It's not on me, it's not on me. The sun went out selectively. That clip ain't even technically. The whole thing's edited wrong. You stretched the pause too long. I wasn't gone, I was strong. You're the one that made it wrong.
The screen recording every blink, zooming in on how I think. I can feel the pixels crawl like little bugs inside the wall. Why's the silence sound so loud? Why's the snow inside the cloud? I wiped the drive, I cleared the slate, but 43 won't dissipate. It's not a receipt, it's a glitch, it's a slip, it's a stitch. You don't get context, you don't get me, you don't get what I was gonna be. I should've burned the whole damn feed, should've starved you all of need. Why'd I leave the part that bleeds?
It's snowing in Florida, babe, can't you see? It's not on me, it's not on me. The sun went out selectively. The whole thing's edited
wrong. You stretched the pause too long. I wasn't gone, I was strong. You're the one that made it wrong. Just scared it, then I'm not scared. I just needed it gone. It was vibrating, it was breathing, it was watching me back. I can hear the comment ghosts, quoting lines I hate the most. Out of context I rehearse, but every spin just makes it worse. Maybe I kept it on purpose, maybe I wanted it to hurt us. Maybe I wanted proof I'm real, even if real don't feel like days.
It's snowing in Florida, babe, it's snow. Don't ask why, just let it go. Sunlight white and powder glow. 43 will always show.
You say panic, I say fate. You say I slipped, I say too late. You say truth was accidental, I say truth is ornamental.
Delete. Delete. Delete, delete. Spin it till it fits.
Lie, no, not lie.
Why is it still snowing?
Yeah, that's the second half of it. So it's a 6-minute song, and it's taken from two different perspectives. So that was the goal, is to get this one long tune in together. And I was hoping that you guys would like it. And thank you very much. it's it takes a little bit of time to get all of these put together, and I was like, man, I still haven't finished the video for that particular one, and I wanted you guys to see how it's been moving along, because when the finished product is what I'm looking for, is to make sure that I have one solid piece that comes together and sort of gives you the whole thing. That's the goal. We'll see how it all works out in the long run. But I've been working on a whole bunch of other stuff too. I've got another one that I've been working on too. And then of course, those that are members have seen the Mutton Flap song. That one is members only right now, but it will be in maybe tomorrow or something like that, I think, is whenever it comes out. For those that are subscribers but not members, don't worry, because whenever I release songs, I like the two sides. Well, thank you, Alfie. That was sort of the goal with it, to give a little more perspective on it. And so what I'm going to do tonight is I'm going to end this thing here, and tomorrow we'll finish up on those filings. And of course, hey, Mr. Cooper, how you doing, brother? Glad you're doing wonderful. So you like the bankruptcy stuff? and people were asking me about that. I was just like, yeah, I prefer Shizzy playing the guitar. Yeah, I like playing the guitar. The only problem is that the hands don't work like they used to. The finger speed is gone, and the strength behind them are gone also. I'm still trying to rehab those to get them back in good working order, so maybe I can play some good music. But yeah, the bankruptcy stuff for lips, or for chips, is pretty damn hilarious. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's good stuff, isn't it? But yeah, they're looking at some pretty harsh stuff. And one thing that I noticed, that they didn't put Jeremy Hales as a creditor on that. I wonder why. They also didn't put the court that Chips is going to be owing a ass ton of money to on that either. I feel your pain on the fingers. Oh yeah, yeah. It's crazy. But anyhow, with that, everybody, I want you to have a wonderful night. I want you to show a little bit of love to people, and I'll see where I'm going to send you guys over here tonight. Just want to double check and make sure that I've got a timestamp written down on this one, or else I will forget tomorrow, and then I'll have to go back and figure out where I left off. So give me just a second, because I want to pick up where I left off yesterday and then finish out the rest of it. And the original, you can go over and check over at Jeremy and George's channel, or What the Hales, and you'll be able to see the whole video. And I recommend watching it and familiarizing yourself with it, because you'll pick up things that I don't quite know. Mo just went live. Let's see. Mo just went live. Why did Mo just go live? Well, now MG Law is live. I see he's live, but I don't know why Mo would be going live. Let me double check and see. No, I don't see Mo in the deep end going live. Now, if you're talking about MG Law, or she's scheduled. No, she'll usually schedule those at night for the next day. That's how she usually does those things. But yeah, those are for her morning stream. But MG is live. I'll be sending you guys over there. Show a little bit of love to MG. He's good people. I went over there last night. I sent everyone over to Camelot and ended up going and hanging out with MG. And we watched the whole Naked Snake on Camelot's last night, which was quite disturbing. But if you haven't seen it, it is quite interesting. To say the least. We love Camelot. He's good people. I enjoy him so much. And it looks like we got Baker is on and MG is on. And I think I'll send you guys over to MG and give him a little bit of love. Show him that you care. And we will pick this up again tomorrow. And I appreciate every single one of you. And thank you again, all of you, for the super chats and for the memberships also. That was very kind of you. And it doesn't go unnoticed, because you guys are what makes this channel feel so warm and welcoming. And I appreciate every single one of you. I'll see you guys, well, tomorrow. Peace.
Breaking news or whatever. They're on another one. Gang, gang. Yeah. Gang, gang, emergency Zoom film at 11. Same 5 goons, same deranged obsession. This changes everything. Bro, it's page 47 of emotion they skin while half watching Yellowstone. Gang, gang. Squinting at 8-point font like detectives. Zoom so far and the pixels are screaming for mercy. Look at this, timestamp 2022, my God. But they're yelling it like they just cracked Watergate. High five. Mike's been muted for 20 minutes, still barking. Circular logic, so a lot of time to seem impressive. Trust the plan, this is massive. Nah, fam, it's boilerplate and it's mid at best. Gang, gang. Self-appointed outrage, swap patting each other like they personally ended corruption. Gang. Dropping bombshell tea that's been sitting in pizza since breakfast. Gang, gang. Moral high ground speed run, they'll flip the script the second it's convenient. Gang. Same PowerPoint presentation, new day, same brain dead narration. Gang, gang. We're not obsessed, we're just passionate. 3-hour living yesterday's hoodie, passion in my ass. Why is he even breathing right now? Says the guy refreshing notifications every 14 seconds. Gang, gang. Playing lawyer on God mode, reading comprehension. Stuck in elementary, confidence in the stratosphere, case dismissed. They're screaming to the void, motion still pending but go off I guess.
Disagree? Obviously a paid shill. Actually read the filing, deep state plan. Laugh at them, you're clearly compromised too. Exist in the same zip code, suspicious behavior. Notify the group chat. Gang, 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 gang.
Tighter circle, smaller brain.
Gang, gang.
Echo chamber finally running out of oxygen. Gang, gang. Yeah. Gang, gang, acting the actual judge like it's group chat. Replay all meltdowns, labeled just asking questions. Got warned by the core ones, that was a suggestion. Still get it the same screed like it's strictly trash talk. Gang, gang, we're above all this drama. While screenshotting, they on meltdown for content. Preaching peace and love while actively baiting bears. And fake shock when the bear finally bites back. How could this happen?
Gang, gang.
Synchronized tantrum hours. 5 tabs open, all the same screenshot. Different zoom levels, gang, gang. Premature victory lap over legal language, still can't pause.
Gang, gang.
Standing 10 toes on business until tomorrow's filing, send them scrambling again.
Gang, gang.
Hype the claim to the moon, then ghost the chat when it ages like milk. Gang, gang.
Gang, 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 gang. Gang, gang.
Refresh. Gang, gang.
Gang, 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 gang.
See y'all same time tomorrow.